Okay, Tech Math Test Review, Unit 6. Refer to the number line, this one here. Give the direction positive or negative and the number of units counted going from the first number to the second number. So if I'm going from -2 to +5, I'm moving in the positive direction. So that's a positive. Now I count the units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Positive 7 is the answer. Now with the decimal, it's a little more complicated. You can't just use that. That's not going to help you. If I go from positive to negative, I'm going in the negative direction, okay? But really, you're going to set up a minus problem. And you're going to take the number you wound up with, -2.2, and you're going to subtract the number you started with, 1.8. Okay, so again, you're actually going to set up a subtraction sign, the number you ended at minus the number you started at. Now, if I'm subtracting, you can make it a plus negative, and then just use your calculator. So -2.2 plus -1.8 is -4. Okay, so that's your movement. Okay, now list each set of numbers in order of increasing value starting with the smallest value. So remember, you look at your negatives, all of them. Your most extreme negative is -23.4. That's actually your smallest value. Then your next extreme is -7. Your next extreme is -4.6. Then you got 0. Then positives, 20.6 and 21.3. Pretty easy. Now with these fractions, okay, because if you look at these, we got a bunch of negatives. Some of you are good with fractions, that's fine, but they're all fractions, okay? The most extreme is either this one or this one. Well, to find which one it is, we need to rewrite those in decimal form. So I'm going to divide 5 by 32, and that's -6.15625. And then this one here, 1 divided by 4 is 0.25, so it's -6.25. Now you got two 6's, that's why that doesn't help us, but I have a 1 here and a 2 here, so that one's the most extreme. But write it as -6 1/4, then write -6 and 5/32. Now we have another problem with all the 1's, okay? So I'm going to 1 divided by 2 is 0.5, so it's -1.5. Then 15 divided by 32 is 0.46, but it's going to be a 1, -1.46875. And over here, 7 divided by 16 is going to be but it'll be -1.4375. So we got all 1's, but then I got 5, 4, and 4. Well, that one's the most extreme, okay? So -1 1/2 is the next most extreme. Then I keep comparing 4 and 4, 6 and 3. That one's the next most extreme. So -1.4, or excuse me, we're going to write -1 and 15/32. And then finally we write -1 and 7/16. And then finally the 0, and there are no positives, so that's the end of the problem. Okay? So there you go. You just rewrite them in decimal form. Okay, now the game gets pretty easy. I mean, you can use a number line if you want, but -5 plus -7 is -12, or a calculator. If you have a minus, I'd make it a plus. -2 plus 8 is 6. If you have a minus, make it a plus. If you have a negative after it, that goes plus. So, -2 1/2 plus 4 1/2, that's 2. Now, if you have a minus when there's no negative, it goes plus negative. So we go -4.31 plus negative 3.23. Negative 7.54. Which makes sense because negative 4 plus negative 3 is 7. Negative 7. And that's going to make 0.54. Okay, multiply or divide the sign numbers. Negative times a negative is a positive. It's 36. That's all multiplication when the parentheses are like that. So you take negative 1 ABC3 times negative 6 times 5. It's going to be a positive because there's two negative factors. That's an even amount. So 10. Here it's an odd or even amount of factors, so I can expect the product to be positive. So negative 1/8 times 1/8 times negative 1/8. 1 over 512. Now division's the same way, okay? You have one negative, so that's odd, so you're going to take 5 and 1/6 divided by 2 and 4/5. 1 and 71/84. Okay, so remember the subtraction. If there's a negative after, it's plus plus, but if there's not, it's plus negative. Or you could just subtract. Okay, exponents. Negative 6 to the 4th. That means negative 6 times negative 6 times negative 6 times negative 6. There's 4 negatives, so that product's positive. That's why when the exponent's even, the negative goes away. And then 6 to the power of 4 is 1,296. 4 to the negatives. Now, if the exponent itself is negative, you put a 1 over it and make your 2 a positive. And 4 to the second is 16, so it's 1/16. Same here. Make the 3 a positive, but not the negative 8, okay? Negative 8 stays negative. So it's 1 over, and I take negative 8 times negative 8 times negative 8. That's an odd number of negatives, so the negative is going to stay. And then 8 times 8 times 8 is 512. So it's negative 1 to 512. Now with the roots, you can punch those in. It means what times what times what times what is negative 6. By the way, that should be a positive 16. Okay, you can't take the even root of a negative number because it doesn't exist. So 4 second caret 16. I messed up. That's 2. Now you can take the odd root of a negative number because if you multiply 3 negatives together, the product's negative. So I go 3 second caret negative 343. Remember, it can't be just 3 and then the second and then the caret key. And then the x squared key, excuse me. Negative 7. Okay, once again, negative's okay. It's odd. So I go 3 second caret and I go 64 ABC 216. 2/3. But it's negative. Okay. Okay, number 19. These are easy story problems, to be honest with you. Okay. The daily closing price net changes of certain stock for 1 week are shown. What's the average daily net change in price? So net change here, it goes down by 1 5/8, and it goes up by 4 3/4, down by 2/3, down by 1 1/2, up by 4/5. To find the average, you are going to add all the numbers together and divide by how many there are. There's 5 days, so we'd be dividing by 5. Now I add them, okay? Adding them doesn't give you your answer, though. That just gives you the overall change. Then you got to divide by 5. So negative 1 ABC 5 ABC 8 plus 4 ABC 3 ABC 4 plus negative 2 ABC 3 plus negative 1 ABC 1 ABC 2 plus 4 ABC 5. Okay, you got 1 and 91 over 120 and then you're going to divide that by 5. Okay, so 211 over 600. Means it's a fraction. It's about 1/3, but because it can't be simplified, that's why it looks so whacked out. Okay, an hourly temperature report in degrees Celsius is given. Okay, what is the temperature change for each period of time listed? To find the change, you set up a subtraction in both these. 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. So go look up 6 p.m. Okay. And by the way, these are times, 12 noon to 5 p.m., then it goes over here 6 p.m. I didn't want to make the table ginormous. So 6 p.m. is where we end at. We put that before the minus sign, okay? That goes to the start. So 6 p.m. is 3.5. Minus 2 p.m., that's going to be 1.2. So 3.5 minus 1.2 is 2.3 degrees Celsius. I don't know how to put a degree sign in the computer. Noon to 7 p.m. Okay, so 7 p.m. we're at 1.2. Okay, and we started at noon, so that's going to be negative 2.6. When you're subtracting a negative, you actually make an addition, and that's going to be 3.8. So it went up by 3.8 Celsius degrees. Okay, moving right along. Camera's going to die. You need to watch the second video in your email. Okay.